Truth be told, I planned for this to be my first video of 2019, but then the Killers released a new song, and I wanted to do a review of that, so it kind of messed up my plans. If you've seen the title of the video, which you should have, then you'll know I'm talking about my personal favorite video games, at the moment. I say at the moment because this list is bound to change over the years. Whether more games are added to the list, I remove some of the games from the list, I might change the ranking, etc. The change of this list is an unavoidable inevitability, so these are my favorite games at the moment. Before we begin, there's a few things I need to address. 1. This isn't a top 10 or top 5 or anything like that. This video is more of a ranking of my favorites. Also, the listed question is short, so this won't be the longest video ever. 2. The ranking in question isn't objective, but rather subjective. This is because if I were to rank the games worst to best objectively, then the game at the top of the list may end up being one that I don't consider my favorite. To avoid this, I'll make this ranking subjective. 3. This is just my opinion. You can disagree all you like, just don't be a brat about it. With that said, let's begin, starting with... Before I explain why I love Halo 2, I would like to give a brief history of my experience with the Halo franchise. So, I own an original Xbox from 2001, which I'll get into more later. I had a small library of games for my original Xbox, and I still do, so one day in the summer of 2015, I bought Halo Combat Evolved on a whim just to see if I'd like the game in an attempt to make my Xbox library bigger. I ended up not loving Combat Evolved, but I liked it enough to give Halo 2 a chance, and I did end up buying Halo 2 about a year later, in the fall of 2016. I loved Halo 2 so much that I asked my parents to get me Halo 3 for Christmas the same year, and they came through. At the time of uploading, I only have the first 3 Halo games, but I do plan on buying Halo 3, ODST, Halo 4, and Halo Reach in the future. Out of the first 3 games, Halo 3 is my least favorite, though it is not a bad game by any stretch of the imagination. Combat Evolved is somewhere in the middle, and Halo 2 is my absolute favorite. Halo 2 is my favorite Halo game because it's a perfect sequel to Combat Evolved. Halo 2 fixes the flaws of the first game. For example, the level design in Combat Evolved is garbage, but much better in Halo 2, and at the same time, Halo 2 takes everything great about the first game and expands upon it. For example, the story in Halo 2 explores the lore behind the Covenant's alien society and their religion. Halo 2 has new weapons, vehicles, enemy types, and mechanics, with dual wielding easily being the best addition to the franchise. Now for the things about Halo 2 I don't like. They removed the assault rifle. The assault rifle was the best weapon from Combat Evolved. It sounded like a real machine gun, it tore through enemies like paper, and carried tons of bullets at a time. So why did they remove it from the sequel? They did bring the assault rifle back for Halo 3, but they nerfed it down. It sounded like a toy instead of a real weapon, it carried less bullets, and it was less effective in combat, but I digress. Halo 2's graphics have not aged well, or at least the graphics from original copies from 2004 haven't aged well. They probably worked for the time, but by today's standards, they do not hold up in the slightest. The vehicle controls also suck, but to be fair, this isn't a specific problem with Halo 2, this is a problem with the franchise as a whole. The vehicle controls suck in Combat Evolved, they suck in Halo 2, and they suck in Halo 3. It will not surprise me if the vehicle controls in ODST, 4, and Reach were bad as well. The Flood are annoying. I like the story behind the Flood, but as enemy types in the game, they're annoying. Again, this is a consistent problem with the first 3 Halo games. It doesn't only apply to Halo 2. I know some people don't like playing as the Arbiter, but I actually really liked it. It helps to lore build for the Covenant, and the Arbiter goes through a character arc, and it has a narrative justification. Plus, there's the helpful invisibility mechanic, so playing as the Arbiter gets a pass from me. The ending is also infamous among players, and again, it doesn't bug me. This might be because I played Halo 2 more than a decade after it came out, so I had the benefit of knowing that Halo 3 would tie up the cliffhanger. Had I played Halo 2 back in 2004 when it came out and there was no Halo 3, then I might hate it as much as the next guy, but I played it for the first time in 2016, so I don't have that problem. With that said, let's get back to the good things. The music in Halo 2 is great, with the main theme being my favorite. Now, the main theme to Combat Evolved is great and epic, but Halo 2 made it better by adding a sexy electric guitar duo. I love this theme so much that I actually plan to learn it on guitar in the future. Halo 2 is not only my favorite Halo game, but one of my favorite games, period. Its status as my favorite Halo game may change in the future after playing the rest of the franchise, but for the time being, Halo 2 is my favorite. I give Halo 2 an 8 out of 10. There are those who don't like Minecraft, and truth be told, I get it. I completely understand why some may find it boring and why it doesn't appeal to everyone. I, on the other hand, am naturally a creative person. In real life, I love Legos, and Minecraft is basically Legos the video game, so of course I'm going to love it. I will admit, however, that I don't always want to play Minecraft. Sometimes I need to be in the right mood to play the game, but when I'm in said mood, I'll spend hours building things. Here's a list of notable things I built in Minecraft creative mode over the years. A space station. This is something I built on Minecraft Pocket Edition a few years ago. There is no footage of the space station itself as the world I built it on no longer exists, but I do have the blueprints for the space station. Yes, it is just a Venn diagram. I remember the space station being so big that it would overwhelm the world and crash it constantly, which is why the world at space station no longer exists. I was forced to delete that world because it kept crashing. The space station was just too big for the iPad to handle. A castle. I originally built this on Pocket Edition as well, but it was also too big for the iPad, so I also had to delete the world. But luckily, I rebuilt the castle in the Xbox 360 edition. It's not an accurate recreation of the original castle, but it's close enough. If I were to rebuild this castle, I wouldn't do it on a super flat world. The flat terrain of the castle just looks awkward, and super flat worlds by design just feel so empty, making my castle feel out of place, but there's nothing I could do about it now. I love the design of my castle, with the village in the middle and the castle wall surrounding and protecting the village. I have attempted to build a city on multiple occasions, but I'm never satisfied with it. I have built a Mars terrain in Pocket Edition. What I mean by this is I found a biome that looked like Mars, so I built a wall around it and set up a shuttle, a drill, things like that. Again, no surviving footage. It was on the same world as my big space station. I have built the TARDIS from Doctor Who several times. There are two methods of which I built the TARDIS. The first is a larger-than-life scale exterior with a life-scale TARDIS interior built inside, but the version you're seeing isn't built that way. The second version is just a room meant to serve as the TARDIS interior, like the ones you should be seeing now. I've made 4 different TARDIS interiors on Xbox 360 edition. Each have unique designs. My personal favorite is what I like to call the wood TARDIS, with wood pillars, redstone lamps, and an elevated platform. I have built some roller coasters, but unfortunately I don't have any footage of them to show you. I built the Millennium Falcon twice. The first one I built back in 2014 on Pocket Edition. I don't have any footage, but I have saved a screenshot of it. The second I built a few months ago, which is bigger and more detailed than the original, and in my opinion, much better. I recreated a few bricks, items, and mobs from Minecraft as larger-than-life statues, with a 1 block equals 1 pixel scale. The statues took up a special world dedicated to them, which was cool, but it sadly no longer exists. I built a big spaceship called the Nemesis, which is based off a drawing of mine. There is no interior detail, but I may change that in the future. I have even built the parting of the sea from the Book of Exodus in Minecraft. I was building one of my roller coasters, and there was a bit that went through a small body of water. While building the track to go through the water, I discovered a method of recreating the parting by accident, and I decided to build it on a larger scale. It was one of the coolest things I built in Minecraft, and I wish I could have saved a picture of it. The list of things I built could be much longer, but we're short of time, so I have to move on. I don't play survival mode that often, but when I do, I like to be a nomad. I don't build a house, I just explore the world and gather supplies as I travel. It's really fun. I don't do it as much now because I only have the Xbox 360 edition as previously stated, but the Xbox 360 can't handle infinite worlds like PCs can, meaning I can't explore as much when trying to do this on Xbox. All of that aside, I love Minecraft because it allows me to express myself creatively and I can do whatever I want when playing. I give Minecraft an 8 out of 10. Batman Arkham franchise is pretty good, but it's not perfect. As much as I enjoy Arkham Asylum, it has not aged well, and Arkham Knight is a disappointing conclusion to the franchise. In my opinion, Arkham City and Arkham Origins are the best games in the series. To make things easier, I'll talk about one game at a time, starting with Arkham City. Arkham City is great for similar reasons that make Halo 2 great. It's a perfect sequel to the first game. Arkham City has a better story, more gadgets, more abilities, more Batman characters, better boss battles, better graphics, more cinematic cutscenes, and the balls to kill off the Joker. The music in Arkham City is epic, especially the main theme. Arkham City is superior to Arkham Asylum in almost every way. I give Arkham City a 9 out of 10. Now for Arkham Origins. Arkham Origins gets a lot of flack and is referred to as the weakest Batman Arkham game. If you were to ask me, I'd say Arkham Origins is overhated. Is it flawed? Yes. Is it bad? No. Arkham Origins has a haunting atmosphere, excellent voice acting, Batman has an actual character arc, and the Deathstroke boss is awesome. Arkham Origins' story isn't perfect, but it's far from bad. Some of the new gadgets are neat, and the crime scene recreation mechanic is the best thing about this game. I give Arkham Origins an 8 out of 10. Sorry my analysis of these games wasn't all that in-depth, but I already talked about these games to death before in the past. I made reviews for Arkham City and Arkham Origins, I made a 2-part top 10 Batman Arkham Moments video, and a more recent video ranking all the games in the franchise. If you want more detail on why I love these games, check out those videos, links in the description. Just a bit of a warning, those videos are old and crappy and cringy because I made them back when I was still starting out and didn't know what I was doing, so keep that in mind. The Batman Arkham franchise might be hit or miss, but at least it has offered us Arkham City and Arkham Origins. I'm not a fan of the Doom franchise, not because I hate it, it's just that I never played the original games from the 90s, and I don't plan to do so. Despite that, I played Doom 2016, and it's awesome. For those who don't know, Doom 2016 follows the angriest man alive, the Doomslayer, who single-handedly fights through the armies of hell itself on Mars. The Doomslayer is such a badass that even the most powerful demons in hell fear him. He's such an unstoppable force that demons had to trick him into a cursed coffin to trap him, only for him to escape and keep fighting. There's a level in the game called Titan's Realm that starts with a giant skeleton, and if you look into the story behind the skeleton, guess who killed it? That's right, the Doomslayer. He's such a badass that he killed a demon the size of the Iron Giant. Doom 2016 has tons of cool weapons with awesome upgrades that make the player feel as badass as the Doomslayer. The game also has power-ups and abilities that do the same thing. And the music. Wow. The music is a gift from God himself. It pumps you up and makes you want to kill demons with your bare hands. Everything about Doom 2016 is awesome and badass, and the sequel is gonna rock. I give Doom 2016 a 10 out of 10. Just like Halo 2, I would like to give some background before I get into Medal of Honor European Assault. As previously discussed, I own an original Xbox from 2001. The Xbox in question used to belong to a friend of mine who offered it to me as a gift. He also gave me a few games with it, and one of those games was Medal of Honor European Assault. I love this game because it's the first one I played on the original Xbox, and this game got me into gaming as a whole. Now, I have played some games before owning Medal of Honor, but they were either only available at my friends' houses, or they were crappy online educational games for kids. European Assault was the first real game I played, and the original Xbox was the first real console I owned. Both of these things are what made me a gamer. In all honesty, this game shouldn't work. Every boss battle is the same, every level has a similar structure, and there are pointless cutscenes. Despite these flaws, European Assault is awesome. The gameplay is fun and well balanced, there are plenty of weapons with their own strengths and weaknesses, there are side missions with perks upon their completion, the level design is varied with some non-linear paths, the adrenaline feature is the best thing about the game, which allows the user to be bulletproof and lets them wield unlimited ammo for short bursts of time, and the game captures the World War II feeling very well. The music in European Assault is another standout feature, with my personal favorite track being the main theme, The Dogs of War. The split-screen multiplayer is one of my favorite elements from European Assault. I have quite a few fond memories of playing the split-screen multiplayer with my younger siblings, which may be why I love it as much as I do. If you look at this game objectively, it's flawed, but to be subjectively, this game is super fun and I love it for how much it entertains me, all the nostalgia I have for it, and the fact that this game started one of my hobbies. I give Medal of Honor European Assault a 9 out of 10. This is it. The big one. The Last of Us is my favorite video game. It has an emotional and masterful story with deep meaning, heavy themes, and well-written characters. The Last of Us also features challenging gameplay, cinematic cutscenes, and some of the best graphics I've ever seen in a video game. The graphics are so good that my mom thought I was watching a live-action movie when she saw me playing the game for the first time. I do not have a single complaint. The Last of Us is a masterpiece. It's more than a game, it's a life-changing experience. If you haven't played The Last of Us, then buy it for PS3 or PS4 and enjoy. If that isn't an option, then just watch a Let's Play on YouTube. As long as you can handle violence, gore, dark and emotional scenes, and foul language, then you should enjoy The Last of Us just fine. I'm not ashamed to admit that I almost cried a few times when playing The Last of Us. In fact, one time, a friend of mine had a sleepover at my house, and while there, he played The Last of Us for the first time, and there's something sad that happens at the start of the game. I'm not going to spoil it, but I can say that my friend cried when said sad scene happened, and afterwards, he told me it was the first time a video game made him cry. There is no other video game that I have ever played that I had a similar emotional reaction to. I hate to sound like a broken record, but it bears mentioning. I love the music in this game, and surprise surprise, the main theme is my favorite. I could go on for hours explaining why I love The Last of Us as much as I do, but 1, I don't have that time, and 2, I don't want to spoil the game for anyone who hasn't played it. The most I could say in this limited time is that The Last of Us is an experience like no other, and I'm hyped for the sequel. I give The Last of Us a 10 out of 10. So, this has been my ranking of my favorite video games. Sorry this list was so short, but hopefully it will grow bigger over the years. I might do a video like this for my favorite movies and TV shows, but no guarantees. Anyway, that's all for me for today, so come by next time. Can't wait to see you there. Until then, EB out.